Every year, you have guys on every roster playing to live up to the hype, justify a contract, or give it one last shot to save their careers. Let's go through every team's player with the most to prove in 2023. If you want to find one specific team, this will be in alphabetical order based on city. Arizona Diamondbacks, Kyle Lewis. He was one of the most exciting players in baseball when he came up, earning Rookie of the Year in 2020, but we haven't heard much since. He tore his meniscus early in 2021, only playing 36 games, and he only played 18 in 2022, getting hit by a pitch that left him with a concussion, and then playing his way down to AAA. The Mariners traded him to Arizona over the offseason, and he's looking to revitalize his promising career in the desert. Atlanta Braves, Ian Anderson. In 2020 and 2021, he was a key piece in the starting rotation. He actually got Rookie of the Year votes in both of those years. In 2022, he dropped off big time, his ERA going from 3.5 to 5. His ERA plus dropping from 121 to 81. And now we want to know, who is the real Ian Anderson? He was the 3rd overall pick in the 2016 draft, so there's a lot of promise there, and this season won't make or break him, but everyone is curious what we're going to get this year. Baltimore Orioles, Adam Frazier. After an all-star first half in 2021, he was traded to the Padres, and his production fell way off. He got traded to the Mariners before the 2022 season, and although he played 156 games, he only hit .238 and had a 612 OPS, 80 OPS plus. He got a contract with the Orioles, 1 year, $8 million, and he should have some good playing time, so he needs to show up this year. Boston Red Sox, Alex Verdugo. For a long time, you kept hearing his name in the Dodgers farm system, one of those guys that was supposed to be the next superstar. Since he came up in 2017, he's been good. He was the biggest piece going to Boston in the Mookie Betts trade. He got MVP votes in 2020, but since then, he's put in 2 full seasons and his production keeps sliding. He's barely better than a league average player now. He's about to turn 27, entering his prime, and it's time to see if he's going to the next level. Chicago Cubs, Cody Bellinger. After his MVP season in 2019, it's been a slow slide downhill. 2020 wasn't great, then he busted his shoulder celebrating, and he fell off a cliff. He hit 165 with a 542 OPS and a 44 OPS plus in 2021, and 2022 was an improvement, but not by much. 210 average, 654 OPS, 79 OPS plus, and the Dodgers non-tendered him after the season. He got a very nice 1-year, $17.5 million deal with the Cubs, and if he returns to form this year, he might get a very nice multi-year offer. If he continues to suck at the plate, he might be looking at a minor league contract. Chicago White Sox, Mike Clevinger. I had a lot of good options here. Grandal, Giolito, but I'm choosing Clevinger. From 2017 to 2019, he emerged as one of the league's best pitchers. He was traded to the Padres in 2020 and pitched very well. And after that season, he signed a 2-year extension, but right after had Tommy John surgery, missing all of 2021. He wasn't good in 2022, 22 starts and a 4.33 ERA. As a free agent, he signed a 1-year, $8 million contract with the White Sox. So at age 32, this year will be pivotal for his career. Cincinnati Reds, Nick Senzel. This guy was the number 2 pick in the 2016 draft, and he came up in 2019, playing parts of 4 seasons. His highest OPS plus was his first year, peaking at 87. Since then, he hasn't seen the field much, and when he's playing, he's well below average. Last year, he played in 110 games, but only hit .231 with a 601 OPS and a 64 OPS plus. He's turning 28 this year and needs to step up his game. Cleveland Guardians, Mike Zunino. After having an All-Star 2021, hitting 33 homers in 109 games, his 2022 season was cut short for injury, requiring surgery, and his 36 games weren't good. Just a 148 average and a 499 OPS. He signed a 1-year, $6 million contract with the Guardians, and at age 32, he might be playing for his future in the league. Colorado Rockies, Cole Tucker. He was a first-round pick in 2014, but didn't come up until 2019. In 4 seasons with the Pirates, he only played 154 games, hitting 5 homers, batting .211, a 573 OPS and 55 OPS plus. The Pirates gave up on him last May. He got picked up by Arizona and played for the AAA team. Then he chose free agency and signed a minor league deal with the Rockies. He's going to be 27 this year, and it seems like he's hanging by a thread, looking for one last opportunity. Detroit Tigers, Jonathan Scope. It wasn't long ago, this guy was an all-star. If you look at his numbers with the Twins, and with the Tigers through 2021, he was a very good hitter. Then he signs a 2-year extension in 2022, and he has a miserable year. Homers cut in half, average dropping to just above 200, OPS dropping about 200 points. He's only 31, but he's in his contract year, and he needs the rebound to get any kind of good deal next year. Houston Astros, Luis Garcia. Not a lot of good options here, but you look at Garcia and you see a guy whose ERA is creeping up. He also had to change his windup because of the new rule changes, so we will have to see how that affects him. Kansas City Royals, AROLDIS CHAPMAN. Ever since he came into the league in 2010, he's been a huge weapon. By 2012, he became one of the league's best closers, and he was really good all the way until last year. He fell out of favor fast, and before you knew it, he was gone. He signed a one-year deal with the Royals, and even though this team is not going to compete, Chapman is auditioning for his next role. That could even come at the trade deadline. Los Angeles Angels, Anthony Rendon. He signed a 7-year, $245 million deal before the 2020 season, and in that short season, he was good. After that, he's played a total of 105 games in 2 years, and he wasn't very good in the games he was actually in. Rendon is going to have to prove that he can stay healthy, and his production is going to have to start living up to that contract. Los Angeles Dodgers, Shelby Miller. He was very good when he came up. He was an all-star in 2015, and ever since then, his career has been a mess. Between 2016 and 2022, he's appeared in 65 games and has an ERA of 7.02. He got a one-year deal with the Dodgers, and at age 32, he's going to have to prove he still has something left. Miami Marlins, Matt Barnes. It's hard to believe he was an all-star in 2021. He had a second-half ERA that year of 6.48 and was almost left off the playoff roster. He spent a lot of time on the IL in 2022, only pitching 44 games with an ERA of 4.31, and the Sox were done with him. He was traded to the Marlins. His contract expires this year, and at age 32, he's going to need to have a good year and see if the Marlins want to pick up his option. Milwaukee Brewers, Luke Voigt. When he came up, he showed a lot of promise, really having good years in 2019 and 2020, but he missed a lot of time in 2021, and last year, he was a slightly above average offensive player. He was lucky to get a major league contract this offseason with Milwaukee, so this year, he's going to have to show if he can be a star player or just an average hitter with some pop. Minnesota Twins, Joey Gallo. This is a guy looking for a renaissance. He's a two-time All-Star, and as recently as his time in Texas in 2021, he had an 869 OPS. Then he goes to the Yankees and it all falls apart. Between the Yankees and Dodgers, he was a consistent 160 hitter, and his teams were just hoping he would run into a home run every so often. He should be right in his prime at age 29, but this is the worst stretch of his career. Maybe he can find some magic in his one-year deal in Minnesota. New York Mets, Tommy Pham. He's always been a really solid hitter. He has some power and he steals bases. But since 2020, he started to slide, and last year was his worst one yet. He got a $6 million deal to play for the Mets this year, and at age 35, we're going to see if he has something left or if he's about done. New York Yankees, Aaron Hicks. This guy really peaked in 2017 and 2018, but then it's been a gradual slide, his last 2 years being really bad. He only played 32 games in 2021, but hit 194 during that stretch. Then he comes back and plays a complete season last year, but barely hits over 200 with a 642 OPS. He's under contract until 2025, but the Yankees won't put up with him much longer. Oakland A's, Jesus Aguilar. He had one outstanding season in 2018, and he's been up and down since. When he's right, he can be a dangerous bat in the middle of the lineup. But last year, between the Marlins and the Orioles, he only had 16 homers and a 661 OPS. He got 1 year and $3 million from Oakland, and he's only 32, so he could still flip this year into a good contract. And I bet he does that, ending the season with another team. Philadelphia Phillies, Derek Hall. He's kind of a late bloomer, coming up last year at age 26 and putting up some very good stats. Now that Rhys Hoskins will be out for a while, he will have a golden chance to prove what he can do. He was hitting cleanup on opening day, so the team believes in him. He just has to justify their faith. Pittsburgh Pirates, Bryan Reynolds. It seems like maybe he's morphing into a different player. 2021 was his breakout, finishing 11th for MVP, hitting .302 with a 912 OPS and 24 homers. In 2022, he was also good, hitting 3 more home runs with 27, but his average dropped 40 points. His OPS dropped 105 points, and he had 22 more strikeouts and 32 fewer plate appearances. Is he going to try to be a slugger and less of a contact hitter, kind of like what Mike Trout did? He's 28, right in his prime, and it will be interesting to see what kind of season he has. San Diego Padres, David Dahl. I know, Fernando Tatis is coming back, and that's going to be a lot of fun, but David Dahl was a top 10 draft pick in 2012, and he was a great hitter in his first 3 seasons, making the All-Star team back in 2019. He has been downright bad ever since. He spent 2022 in the minors, but he's back in the majors. He just turned 29, and he's back to prove he can still play at the major league level. Seattle Mariners, Jared Kelenic. The Mariners are going places, and here you have this guy with so much talent and so much promise, and it's just not clicking. He was the number 6 overall pick in 2018, but in 2 seasons, he's batting .168, has an OPS of .589 and an OPS plus of 66. He's still only 23, but if he still wants to get playing time, he's gonna need to step it up a lot. San Francisco Giants, Joey Bart. We heard his name a lot, the heir apparent of Buster Posey, and once he retired, the job belonged to the second overall pick of the 2018 draft. He got a sniff of the majors when Posey opted out of the 2020 season, but he only hit .233 and a .609 OPS. Last year, without Posey on the roster, he played in 97 games, hit .215 and a .660 OPS. He's gonna have to show something on offense at some point. St. Louis Cardinals, Tyler O'Neill. It looked like he had officially arrived in 2021, hitting .286, 34 homers and a .912 OPS, 8th place for MVP. Last year started terrible, and it was one IL stint after the other. He still had some pop and that saved his OPS, making him a league average player, but his average dropped almost 60 points. He signed nearly a $5 million deal to avoid arbitration, but what happens next offseason will depend on what kind of year he has. Tampa Bay Rays, Brandon Lau. I didn't have a good option here, so let's look at Lau, a guy who was on the verge of being a superstar, back-to-back top 10 MVP seasons, and then last year he spent 3 stints on the IL. He only played 65 games, he hit .221 with a .691 OPS. Let's see if 2023 is his rebound year and he regains his MVP form. Texas Rangers, Jacob deGrom, a 2-time Cy Young winner. When he's right, he's the best in baseball. What does this guy have to prove? Well, the last 2 years, he's been an injury mess, and he got a 5-year, $185 million deal with Texas. That's $37 million a year, and he needs to prove he can stay on the field to make that investment pay off. This is more of the Rangers' problem than deGrom's, but I'm sure deGrom wants to go down in history as a Hall of Famer, not a tragic tale of an injury-plagued pitcher. Toronto Blue Jays, HYUN-JIN Ryu. It's hard to believe Ryu is nearing the end of his 4-year contract. Between 2018 and 2020, this guy was one of the best in baseball, but in 2021, he had a career-worst .437 ERA, and he only started 6 games in 2022. This is his contract year, and at age 36, he's pitching for one more good deal before he calls it quits. Washington Nationals, Patrick Corbin. He signed with the Nats before 2019, and he finished 11th for Cy Young and won a World Series. Since then, he's pretty much been the worst pitcher in baseball. He still has this year and next before his contract is done, and the Nats are already building, so winning isn't their chief concern. But he's still making $23 million a year, so they're gonna get the most out of him. At age 33, he should have the opportunities to turn his career around. That's all for this video. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of disagreements here, especially for the guys on your favorite team, and this was a tough list to put together, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new here and want to see more content like this, please give me a sub. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.